my goodness. Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 making up JVS. I just came back from a non-spoiler review for the new movie War Room, which came out last week, which this week is actually topped straight out of Compton. The last week, I think it hit third place, but it was a limited release. I think officially after this week is going to be released out to the entire world. And this is the spoiler review about War Room. The movie messed me up. That's why I'm really highly motivated to doing like a real open discussion of what the movie really meant to me from a spiritual standpoint. I'm going to be putting that discussion up maybe tomorrow, if not maybe on Tuesday. I'm not really sure because a lot of people, it's going to be Labor Day tomorrow, you know. But I have at least 3 other people that really want to join in the discussion. If any of y'all want to actually join in the discussion, what y'all thoughts process was about War Room, leave your note at the comment section below, and I can invite you into that. I think it's gonna be really powerful, really good, because I think there's a lot of testimonies that comes behind it. But the purpose of this one is just gonna be on spoilers, and I don't know how to talk about spoilers of this without talking about what it meant to me, you know. And I gave the movie a 9 out of 10, but from a spiritual standpoint, I gave it 10 out of 10. The thing I will say from the jump is that the person playing Miss Clara, they feel as though either they're a great actor or they have some real spiritual influence that they've had in their life. And the person by that name is Karen Abercrombie. She does an astounding job as the mother, the grandmother, as the spiritual influence and the perk behind this movie, because her whole perspective on all this is that every man or woman, every relationship, they have an answer to their issues, and it's not each other. That basically from her concept, even in the beginning when she started talking to Elizabeth, in the beginning Elizabeth was kind of talking like, well, I want to sell you this house, and you know, she started telling her, like, when she first met up with her, their interaction, I could tell that Miss Clara was already like sizing her up, you know, like she was kind of seeing like where she was at, you know, and she started talking about her relationship with her husband. I knew something was strange about that, because her husband, he basically had a heart attack. He went and served in the military, and they had a son that they left behind, even though they wanted to have like more than a couple children, but he died, you know. And it's like her faith was fueled from nowhere, because basically by all accounts her husband is dead. Like, why would you continue to have faith, you know? But she understood the devotion that he had to his family, the devotion that he had to the military, and there was a purpose behind it. But she also knew that there was a great influence that could happen with her interceding on behalf of everybody. And she had her own prayer closet, you know, and what she called it was her war room. But the dialogue is everything. I'll read some of the excerpts that they had that I can kind of talk about. She said it at one point. She said when they first met, and Elizabeth was kind of like dealing with different stuff, you know, and she was kind of telling her, do you like the house and everything. Their interaction went like, there's very few people that know who they're really fighting. And she said that y'all two, when y'all fight, y'all are not really fighting right. And like, she's thinking at it from a perspective that, okay, well, yeah, it's unethical to sit there and go against your husband and your wife anyway. She's like, no, it's fine. People bicker and fight all the time, but the resolve is everything. There are times where you probably go in on your husband, and you never feel like you really truly win these fights, you know? And I was like, anybody can account to that, you know, anybody. And he probably feels the same exact way. When he first started showing like the husband in the house, like he did not even pay his daughter attention. Like he literally was kind of like in and out, and like he loves his job, and like he loves being on top, ahead, and all this kind of stuff. Even like his friend that's a paramedic, they kind of had this discussion, it was like debate, like, man, I wish I could have done what you're doing, being in pharmaceuticals, and versus me doing a paramedic, because Lord knows, like, me giving people a mouth-to-mouth shoot. Imagine if that was something they can pay me that for that. It's funny dialogue. Like, there's a lot of funny, subtle moments that happen in this movie that catch your eye, and they're authentically done. It's not like too cheesy or campy. Like, these are jokes that would be wisecracked during like general conversation. At any rate, one of the other things that she kind of said was that victories don't come by accident. They are won through prayer and devotion. And what she said that she had said when she was interacting with Elizabeth, she had said to her that I know what you're feeling. I've been there and I've gone through more and worse. What I'm telling you are things that are tools that can not only counteract the opposition that's going on, but that can correct your marriage. That whole concept in and of itself was just so powerful, because to me, looking at it, I was like, I know people that have been struggling in their marriage. I know people that have made it in their marriage. And like to see from the inception of how this movie began with Miss Clara talking to Elizabeth and teaching her different things, to Elizabeth kind of fighting a little bit, and even like the sort of funny moments where she was trying to make her own prayer closet, she was just failing epically. It was just so funny because I was listening to her daughter. Her daughter had different interactions with her. It was like, man, your feet stink. Like, what are you doing, Mom? And like her friend Mandy was always with her. They were looking at her like, man, there's something wrong with her, you know. And I think there's something that came out when their daughter had said, like, basically, like, man, I wish that my parents was like yours, because my parents fight every day. You know, and that it struck a chord with Elizabeth, because she'd heard what Miss Clara was saying, but Danielle, when she said that, it kind of like messed her up. And then what was another powerful scene is that, like I said, even after the progression of talking with Miss Clara, she talked to her daughter, because her daughter was kind of like sitting down and stuff like that. She was like, you know that no matter what, that we love you, right? You know, and I mean, what the daughter said, she don't know. Like, she said that she has no idea, and I was like, wow, that's so powerful. And my friend Sean, he had said that it's rare that kids would do that because they're afraid of their parents. I mean, not necessarily they should be, but they have this feeling that they can't be completely vocal with their parents. Well, this girl, Danielle, she told her, she's like, I don't know. She's like, what's my favorite color? Like, what is my coach's name? What is the name of the trick that I do in double dutch? What's my team's colors? And Elizabeth realized she had no idea. And I was like, you can see in Danielle's eyes that she is literally crying, because she's like, why don't you see this? What do you think? Why I think that you don't love me? You don't even know these things about me, you know? And it was true, because they've been fighting and fueling so much that even in the beginning, like, Elizabeth had told her daughter, like, man, I know you're upset about this C, but like, you got all these A's. And as soon as her husband Tony comes in, like, they just started arguing. Like, she told her dad about the, you know, the grades and stuff like that. He didn't even see it, because he already had arc in his heart, and they had a whole lot of unforgiveness. And I mean, they've been married for 16 years, but it didn't mean a hill of beans because of the situation that they were in. Beautiful people, beautiful actors, looked great, but it was like they played their roles so well. But that scene with her and Danielle, like, I saw Elizabeth just disintegrate, because she realized this is so much bigger, you know? And she finally took all the stuff out of her closet and just literally made that closet devoted to a time such as, I need to pray on behalf of my family. I need to pray for my husband so I don't have this arc in my heart. Because basically, even what Miss Clara kind of said to her, she was like, do you not know that you asking God for forgiveness for what you're doing, He can't fully forgive you because you haven't forgiven somebody else? Like, how is He supposed to be able to bless you when you are not allowed the blessing to be reciprocated back to somebody else? And I mean, that's a hard thing. That whole entire prospect of that, regardless if you're a Christian or not, that's rough. Why would you willingly go and say to somebody, you know, I forgive you, or this or that, when you know you're not necessarily going to get any payoff in return? But it takes a heart change. It takes a face change, you know? Like, she knew, Elizabeth knew, based on the way the plot and everything was going, that there was no other options. They were literally getting to the point that they were about to break up. And it was so funny that she had gone and spent all this time in devotion in the war room, or her new war room, and she really was starting to write stuff down just like Miss Clara was. And then she gets a text message, just like the enemy would, about the prospect that her husband was cheating. Like, I mean, I was like sitting there watching it, you know, and it's it's just so difficult to see somebody, you know, that are trying to make a change, trying to hold on to the marriage, and then this normally happens is when the opportunity, the enemy goes to kill, steal, and destroy. You know, I mean, regardless if you believe in the devil, hell, or whatever, you do know and recognize that there is real evil, and that people inherently, you know, are trying to be good, but they are self-motivated by something that is evil, you know? And I mean, regardless of what you believe, this is true. This is fact for everybody. Everybody has that possibility of doing the wrong thing, or in their idealistic perspective, doing something that's for themselves that could be catastrophic for other people, you know? And this is what her husband was doing. Like, he was really messing it up. But then when you see, like, even in spite of that happening, she decided at that point that she was no longer going to target her husband for her anger, for her fuel, but she was going to know that the enemy was the one that she had to combat. And that's what Miss Clara was trying to get down to her. It's like, stop trying to be mad at all the stuff that your husband has done or what he's doing. Regardless of the fact, there's nothing that you can do to change him. And that's a life lesson for everybody. I'll go into that more in my spoiler discussion about this movie later, but you can't change somebody. It only takes divine intervention or grace for somebody to really want to be changed. And they have to see that there is something that they're losing by them not changing, you know. And by her allowing herself to find joy in the midst of her situation, by her going in prayer and still catering to him, not necessarily allowing him to be abusive or doing anything against, you know, his daughter or whatever, because I don't believe in that. I really don't. But this movie presented, beyond abuse and all this kind of stuff, is that she was just trying to do right by her husband. And like, every turn that he was messing up, he was like, why is she not getting angry at me? Like, you know, like there's no fuel for his fire. And I love that about this movie, because it made him literally disintegrate into nothing. Even when he was about to cheat, like, he got sick to his stomach. And, you know, I mean, you can say, you know, it was like divinely appointed, but a lot of it was most likely guilt. Guilt in and of itself, just like anxiety or stress, can manifest itself physically. So this is something that is possible, you know? And like how he just goes to the point of like disintegration and realizing what he's losing, what he's done. Like the stuff that he did, like on his job and with the woman and to his wife, and it's just so messed up. But I've seen a lot of people do worse, you know? But like the way that this movie was presented, it wasn't so dramatified like a Tyler Perry based movie. It was just clear to the point of he realized what he was, and he realized this is not who he wants to be. And I think when he was looking at like his wife's prayer closet and his room and seeing the paper and seeing even the text messages, there was a point in the movie that was so funny that he realized that she knew that he was about to cheat or had cheated, and yet he didn't. But he didn't know, like, he's like, why is she being so nice to me? Man, she about to poison him. She about to take me out. She's cooking for him. She's trying to cater to him. She's communicating with him more than she ever has. And he gets the realization at some point that she's giving him the guy versus anything. And I love that aspect, because the way that he transforms is not because of her, but it's in spite of the things that she's not doing anymore. Like, she's literally allowing herself to feel joy in spite of the situation. And because of that, he had no fuel to combat that with but himself. You know, there's no blame game that can be done. It's that you look and see what you're doing in your environment. And that's what I love about this movie. It makes you see and assess what you're doing, how you're interacting with your family, regardless if you believe in prayer or not. What is the dedication? What is the motivation? Why did you get married? Why are you with this child? Why are you relating? You know, like all these different things, they play full circle in your heart and in your mind. Like, and I was just like, I felt for these people. Like, I felt the realness of them really getting an encounter, what I call an encounter by God. And it was just done so beautifully. And I mean, even towards the very end, one thing I will spoil more than anything is the fact that Miss Clara has said to her, after everything worked out, it worked out so beautifully. And I'm not going to go into everything, but Miss Clara has said to her that I thank God for you. Thank you so much. She's like, no. This is when I broke down. I'd already broke down a couple times in this movie. I'll admit this. But when Miss Clara said, like, I really thank God for you, you know, and I really appreciate you. You have no idea what this means to me. Elizabeth was like, you don't understand what you've done for my family. Like, you've changed everything just by your faithfulness. You've done so much, you know. But it's crazy because when did that, she's like, no, you don't understand. When I was young, before my husband died, we had not gotten stuff right. We had not clicked. I'd allowed the enemy to rob me of my husband, our potential true relationship that we could have had. And at the time he died, I didn't end on good terms. And I knew in that time that I needed to be better, and I asked and begged God to help me out. But then I did more. I soaked into my prayer closet and my war room, and I allowed myself to be fueled by God. And I asked and begged after 50 some years later she realized that she had not replicated the stuff that she had gone through and passed it on to somebody else. She was begging for God to send somebody in her life to do this time, to do this the right kind of way. And I was like, wow. Like Elizabeth counted her as a blessing, but Miss Clara found her more of a blessing because this has been years and years where she has known that. It felt like the story of Moses, essentially. When Moses got his people over across the river, he didn't necessarily get to the promised land. He didn't see it, but he was able to pass that on to somebody else so that they could be able to continue to lead. And that's what even she had said to her. She's like, you need to go and find somebody else and help them with this, you know, like touch somebody else through this testimony, you know. And I just thought it was so beautiful. It was an awesome story. It was well scripted. It was funny, but it was just so powerful. And I can't express that enough. Highly recommend it for Christian and non-Christian alike. If you're non-Christian, you're at least going to enjoy the comedy. You're going to at least love the prospect of the camaraderie and the family that's being brought back together. And more than anything, like, there are cheesy moments. There are cheesy moments, but the powerful moments outweigh anything that you can do with that. You know, I mean, these people are really crying real tears. You really feel real weight. And it's just such a beautiful family by the end of it. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, highly recommend you go and check out War Room. This is the spoiler review for War Room. Definitely go. I'm going to leave in the description bar below the link to the other channel, because come Monday or Tuesday, we're going to be doing a full open discussion on it. Anybody wants to join in, let me know in the comment section below. This is JVS SEL 0320 signing out. Y'all have a blessed evening, blessed night, blessed day. Have an amazing, amazing Labor Day. Go check out War Room. Later, y'all.